Children and adults sometimes do those same unhelpful behaviors over and over again. Today, we're going to discuss why that might be. Raising great kids is a privilege and a responsibility. Sometimes our children can't see their own greatness. Sometimes we can't. Other times we can see their greatness but struggle to step up because of our own challenges. We will be discussing the brain science, tools and techniques that help us raise great kids. This might look like in our children. For our children, this might be hitting their brother or grabbing a toy from their sister or playing video games to the exclusion of their homework despite the fact they said they would get to it. All right, for parents, and this will often fall in that group too, where we don't see our child's greatness, or that group 3 where we are really struggling with our own problems, making us less available for our children, right? So this might look like us yelling at our children, even though we said we weren't going to do it again, right? Or it could be us hiding in our rooms or hiding in doing chores, cooking dinner, doing the dishes, or whatever those chores might be, so that we don't have to deal with the homework battle with our child. All right, so we each, and these are just a couple of examples, there are so many, but where we get into behaviors that are not helpful behaviors that we do over and over again. Like, we want to have helpful behaviors we do over and over again. So it's not the repetition of a behavior that's not helpful for us. It's the repetition of kind of those non-beneficial ones, the ones that don't lead us where we really want to go, that is a concern. And we might say, we've tried everything, which is one of those overgeneralized conclusions, right? We haven't tried everything. Yes, we might have tried punishments. We might have tried rewards. We might have tried affirmations, positive statements. We might have tried a lot of different things. But I've noticed, like in myself, that they're the things that I want or think might be helpful. And there's no way to know all of the possibilities out there. So we might ask, why doesn't it work? Why aren't they getting this? Or even, why am I not getting this? And to kind of demonstrate this, I'm going to go, it might feel a little off topic, but just stay with me. Okay, just imagine you're in the grocery store and all of a sudden you turn down an aisle and there's somebody you know and they say, hi, and they greet you all enthusiastically and they're talking like they know you really well, and you're going, oh, I do know you. But wait, what's your name? And even, where do I know you from? So we're thinking, oh, is it at school? Is it at church? Is it in our neighborhood? Where do I know you from? And what's your name? And even during that whole conversation, we might not be able to remember or place them. But then we get home and we're sitting on the couch or we're just doing dishes, and all of a sudden it pops in our head, oh, that's Samantha that I know from that one school activity, or whatever it is. And then I want you to stop and think, was it that your brain didn't know her name when you were talking to her at the store? No, your brain did know her name and where you knew her from, but you just didn't have access to it. And so it's really that lack of access, not the lack of knowledge or understanding, that created the problem. So think about that when it comes to those repetitive behaviors. It's not that we don't know better, and we can get frustrated with ourselves or with our children for, seriously, again, I did that, or they did that, or why didn't they learn, right? But we just didn't have access to the things that we do know, because we do know this is going to be helpful and this is not going to be helpful, but we just kind of go down those same paths. So that's one of the reasons that this happens. One of the reasons we have these repetitive behaviors is because it is a habit. For whatever reason, from when our brain was developing and growing and connecting neurons, this is the way that our brain connected neurons. And so it shoots us down that path of those responses and reactions, without us consciously choosing it. It like happens so fast. We go, it was a reaction. I didn't choose it, but we've chosen it in the past, even before we could think about our thinking. And so we created those pathways, or our children have created and are deepening those pathways. And so that is one of the reasons. It is a habit. But the second reason really truly plays into that, and that is we're simply trying to meet our needs. And yes, we might know, oh, I need, water and food and shelter and things like that. But do we really understand all that goes into meeting our emotional or psychological needs? There are some things out there that kind of lump some of them together, but without clarity and detail, we really aren't able to meet our needs. One of the ones I hear a lot is, children have an attention bucket and they have a power bucket. And unless we fill those two buckets every day, then they're going to have behaviors or things. And that's true to a point, but that's too overgeneralized. So if we can meet those two needs, then those are two of the needs. But inside each of those buckets, there's more. And what we're doing is we've set these paths, these connections in our brain, ourselves or our children, because we feel like doing that will help us to meet our emotional or psychological needs. But we have no idea, or we have only a general idea of what those needs are, so we're not able to meet them effectively. But we kind of meet them enough that we say, well, maybe if we do this enough and more often, and then, oh, I've got to keep trying, if I've got to do it again to maybe I can meet those emotional and psychological needs this time. And so that's kind of why we have those repetitive behaviors, or why our children might have some of those repetitive behaviors. And again, I wasn't taught this at school. I wasn't taught this in my family or even at my church. I was just suffering. I felt pain and it led to my suffering, and I couldn't figure out, why am I depressed? Why am I experiencing these things that I'm experiencing? And then seeing my children, and I didn't have this information or this knowledge or this way, this beneficial way of looking at things and learning and growing, and changing my behaviors for the path that I wanted. And so I wasn't able to teach that to my children. And so then I started seeing them suffer. And that really led me to look and to search. And as I was looking and searching, I was then seeing, oh my goodness, yeah, I'm experiencing that. My children are experiencing this. But then I could see how some of those behaviors in my classroom really were the exact same thing that my children and I were going through. And then as I was talking to parents and at parent-teacher conferences and how can we help your child at school, I was noticing, oh, wow, This is super, super common. This isn't just me. And I don't know why sometimes when we're suffering, we really feel like it's just us, or even if we know, yeah, somebody out there is probably also experiencing this. It's got to be far and few in between. And it's not, this is really common. This is not stuff that we're taught. And yet these are essential skills to help us to get to the life we want. And yes, there are some people out there who just accidentally have discovered this, or their neurons just happen to connect in beneficial ways because of whatever, those situations that they have. But for most of us, this is not common stuff. And so this is kind of what I want to share with you as we on this podcast are finding some of the findings, and as I can continue to find and discover those things that actually help us to teach ourselves so that we have what we need so that we can teach our children. So all kids are great by their very natures, and it is our privilege and our responsibility to teach them. So thank you for being here with me and for going on this journey for learning and growth together with me. Hi friends, Cynthia Armstrong here. Thanks for joining us today. Please make sure that you subscribe to our channel so you can see when new videos come out and like this one. It is such a responsibility and a challenge to raise great kids, and we are here to help you along that journey to make it as enjoyable and fun and fulfilling as possible. Please check out our website, www.raisinggreatkids.net, and I will leave that in the description below.